Good morning, everybody. I'm Akinori Yamashita and from Japan. Even though early good morning, thank you very much for coming this symposium meeting place. Thank you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude for being given the opportunity to speak here today. At the International Wood Culture Society World Wood Day in Los Angeles, I am very truly honored. Furthermore, my invention of the eco-robot Roboky on this is, which will save the world and the human race, is on display at this venue. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the opportunity to have my creation be viewed by everyone in attendance here. My speech today will consist of 3 parts. My speech title is as follows: Japanese wood culture and Japanese-born eco-robot Roboky. My speech today will consist of 3 parts. In part 1, I will talk about Japan's wood culture. In part 2, I will talk about the national movement of wood education. Namely, this is a nationwide movement by Japanese people to carry out education at home, in schools, and in society, under the slogan, "Let's use domestic materials." This movement aims to reach the following 3 goals. First, prevention of global warming. Second, renewal of Japan's neglected forest and development of mountain villages. Third, formation of a sustainable society. In part 3, I will talk about the detail behind the creation of Roboky and Roboky's message to the human race. Now I will begin with part 1, Japan's wood culture. Even seen from global perspective, Japan can be said to have a unique wood culture. I would like to start by outlining the historical details and current state of Japan's wood culture. Compared with the world of today, 8,000 years ago, much of land of Earth was covered with forest and was lushly green. However, the forested area of our planet has decreased in this fashion since then. Even as these forests decrease worldwide, Japan, a small nation, has the second greatest percentage of forested land of any nation in the world. In other words, Japan is one of the prominent green nations on our planet. You can see Finland is number 1, and second is Japan, third Sweden, and fourth Korea. About 40 of these lush forests are man-made, and about 60% are natural forest. Please look at this image of both man-made and natural forest in Japan. Man-made forests are planted and raised by human hand. Natural forests are raised by the actions of natural force. This is natural forest. Many of Japan's natural forests remain in this way. Now, I would like you to look at this image of some natural Japanese forests that are world famous as World Natural Heritage Sites. One of them, Shiretoko, and another Shiretoko, Shirakami Sanchi, and Yakushima. This is all the wild natural heritage. This is a natural heritage Shiretoko. And this is Shirakami Sanchi. Yakushima. Japanese people has utilized these rich forest resources as lumber in their everyday lives and in industry. Please observe some image of this. Logging. This is in old day. Now, at present. Next, I would like to introduce some of Japan's wooden buildings that have been designated World Cultural Heritage Site. This is Horyuji Temple and Himeyomi's Dera, Kinkakuji, another name Rokonji. This is Shirakawa-go and Bokayama, big wooden architecture. Now, I will show you some examples, modern Japanese lifestyle and of how lumber is used in it. Japanese people have been skillfully used many kinds of wood in their lives. Modern house. Wooden interior decoration material, very beautiful wood grains. Japanese traditional craft kumiko. Wooden floor, comfortable to skin. Traditional furniture, beautiful wood grain. Wood craft and fuel and paper. Next, in part 2, a Japanese national campaign of expansion of domestic wood utilization for reduction of CO2. Japan has few natural resources. Wood is the only rich sources in Japan. So Japanese people used it at all over their life from old time. On the earth, there are various resources that are necessary for people's lifestyle and for industrial activities. However, Japan is a nation with a small area and few natural resources. Among those few resources, that one that is in abundance in Japan is forest resources, or in other words, lumber resources. Furthermore, Japan has a history of these lumber resources being used in every nook and corner of people's lives and industrial activities. However, in this long history of Japan's wood culture, there was a time when maintaining this wood culture became quite difficult. I would now like to show you some image of how Japan overcome this difficult period. The end of World War II, 1945, Japanese land was burned to the ground. Japanese scorched land, 1945. After 1945, recovery after war, many wooden houses construction. For speed up lumber production, the increase of tree cutting, so both mountains and collapse of mountain. In order to afforestation promotion of Japanese land from 1945 to 1951. This 1971 is a changing point. 2017, now after 70 years of the end of the war, the age of trees are 60 to 70. So it is a good time to cut down trees in Japan forest. Now, 2017, it is a good time to get much lumber from our forest. But it is not good situation to use wood materials at this time. Why? From 1950 to 1990, the following domestic and international difficulties beset Japan. These difficulties accelerated the deterioration of Japan forest and the distancing from lumber. Its factors are as follows. First, the increase of building using concrete and metals during Japan's high economic growth period. Second, a revolution in materials. In other words, the advent of plastics. Third, the revolution in fuels. In other words, the emergence of petroleum and fuel gas. Fourth, the population drain from mountain villages. Fifth, importation of inexpensive foreign materials. In other words, a slump in sale of domestic materials. In the most half century from 1950 to 2000, the following phenomena continued, leading to the eclipse phase of the lumber age. First, huge drain of population from mountain villages and the aggravation of the depopulation phenomenon. Second, a sharp decrease in forest laborers. Third, the deterioration of man-made forest. In other words, an inability to conduct the care and maintenance, such as thinning, necessary for cultivating forest. Fourth, a recession in prices of domestic materials led to the progression of man-made forest deterioration. Fifth, the self-sufficiency rate of lumber production decreased to 20%. In other words, the emergence of the golden age of imported lumber across Japan. After 50 years of the eclipse phase of the lumber age, we finally began to see some daylight. The cue for this was prevention of global warming. Now I will talk about wood education. Wood education is an education movement for promoting the use of domestic materials. The wood education movement was triggered by the following point. Following the Industrial Revolution, which happened in England in the later half of the 8th century, the industrialization of countries around the world has led to global warming. In Kyoto Protocol of 1997, Japan made a promise to the world to decrease its carbon dioxide output by 6%, 3.8% of which would be covered by forest photosynthesis. Because of this, the photosynthesis function of Japan forest started to receive great public attention. However, due to the eclipse phase of the lumber age, which lasted from 1950 to 2000, forest thinning and other necessary care and maintenance was unable to be carried out in Japan's man-made forest, and as such, the dilapidated man-made forest spread throughout Japan. Furthermore, there was an extreme weakening of the ability of these forests to absorb carbon dioxide through photosynthesis. As a measure to establish these man-made forests, the government, the forestry agency, divides the following 3 points. First, increase the self-sufficiency rate of lumber production. In other words, promote 20 to 50% usage of domestic lumber. Second, promote the construction of wooden public buildings, such as schools, government buildings, and train station, etc. Set up a lumber industry section and a lumber usage section within the organization of the forestry agency. In other words, promote usage of domestic lumber. Especially, I will talk about the mission of lumber usage section. One is the enlightenment of importance of prevention of global warming by wood lumber usage. Two is the enlightenment of the usage of domestic wood lumber to create a sustainable society. These measures were successful, and trees' absorption of carbon dioxide through photosynthesis and became common knowledge in the Japanese population. But Japanese people learn about photosynthesis in science, in compulsory education. So they don't understand that wood is the carbon fixation material of CO2 of atmosphere. Therefore, most Japanese people don't understand that wood utilization contributes to the prevention of global warming. This kind of photosynthesis is studied by children in Japan from age 12 to 15 in late elementary school or junior high school science classes. However, the materials used for studying photosynthesis are almost all flowering plants. If you only use these kind of plants, you cannot learn about the important function of carbon fixation that lumber has. What do you use to study photosynthesis in your country? flowering plants or trees. It's my wish that everyone around the world learn about both photosynthesis and carbon fixation using trees. I also want everyone to know about the important function lumber has. This is all carbon fixation. Carbon fixation of wood, logs, and lumber. Carbon fixation of tree and wooden toy, Roboky. Wooden toy Roboky was born from trees. All Japanese people learn photosynthesis about herbaceous plants. They don't learn it about woody plants. Japanese people don't learn wood equal carbon fixation. Here are some pages from the elementary school science textbook used in Japan. The cover of this textbook shows the surface of the earth thick with forest. You can see a thick forest. However, in elementary school science textbook, the mechanism of photosynthesis is learned through pictures of flowering plants, and it is only the photosynthesis of these plants that is learned. Photosynthesis is not studied using trees. Global warming is a great threat to the entire planet. In order to prevent this, it is essential for children to become familiar with the importance of trees and lumber through playing with the trees and wooden toys in other early childhood. Furthermore, once children enter elementary school, it is necessary for these same children who have become familiar with trees and wooden toys to study the scientific content of photosynthesis and carbon fixation of trees and earth. As we move to part 3, let me now talk about the background of creation Roboky, the wooden toy. I was strongly aware of the importance of outdoor activities, familiar with forest and trees. Since early childhood, in particular, I was worried that children playing with outdoor trees, rich field decreased. Through enjoyable outdoor activities in trees-rich forest, I thought that it is important to experience the photosynthesis of trees naturally with the body. Furthermore, it is important to carefully acquire the relationship between trees and woods with playing toys in the room. Let me now talk about the background of the creation of Roboky, the wooden robot. From 2009, the Tanabe Foundation, located in Shimane Prefecture, has been providing financial support for the wood education that I am carrying out. The first project undertaken through this partnership was a presentation ceremony of wooden plates to be used during snack time as a kindergarten attached to the Faculty of Education at Shimane University. To surprise and delight the children during this ceremony, I designed Roboky, a life-sized wooden robot about the same size as those kindergartners. Here are some pictures from the ceremony. First Roboky appearance, this is the ceremony. Shake hand. Present the plate. Next, I developed the miniature Roboky, which could fit in the palm of kindergartner's hand, and then made it into product to be sold. Why I developed the miniature Roboky for the following reasons. First, the children wanted a cute Roboky that was like doll that they could keep nearby and enjoy. Second, the children wanted a Roboky that could be like a sibling or family. Third, the children wanted something that they could be with at home. Fourth, the children wanted to make their own robots. This is how you put a miniature Roboky together. Here are some decorated Robokys, dressed up mini Roboky. This is life-size Roboky, which has 3 different expressions. Angry face, sad face, and normal face. This is angry face. Sad face. Normal face. Now, after seeing Roboky's 3 expressions, please look carefully at the larger picture of this face. Something is strange, something is missing. Compared to our faces, isn't there something strange about his face? Something is missing, right? Yes, Roboky doesn't have either a nose or mouth. What would Roboky be like if he had a nose and mouth? If you look at the miniature Roboky designed by children, you will see that they almost all have noses and mouths. They wanted to talk to Roboky, so they personified him with noses and mouth. Let me explain why the life-size Roboky doesn't have a nose or mouth. It is because Roboky has a lot of carbon that was fixated within him when he existed a part of tree in the forest. If he had a nose or mouth, he would release the carbon within him into the atmosphere. He doesn't have a mouth or nose, so that he will not do that. Roboky's weight is 40 kilogram, and half of weight, 20 kilogram, is the carbon fixation weight from CO2 of atmosphere. All three Robokys don't have a nose or mouth. The life-size Roboky had a message that he wants to share with everyone around the world. This is the message. We Robokys are great eco-robots that are here to prevent global warming and protect both us and all of the people who live here. Throughout the world now, there is a wide variety of robots developed for all kinds of usage. Robots for medical care, robots for care of the sick and elderly, robots for industrial use, cleaning robots, and so on. However, we Robokys are the only ones in the world that are eco-robots which protect the earth and all human beings. Everyone, we ask that you make many more robots like us all over the world. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you.